What's up, guys? This is Jay with Trench Collectibles, and we're doing another eBay comic haul unboxing and shipping review. This time we've got a lot that's supposed to be 10 pounds of comics. It wasn't sold as a certain number of comics, but 10 pounds in weight. So, see, I've already weighed this once before with the box. Of course, we'll weigh it without the box. I think it's like 10 pounds, 11 ounces or something. About 10 pounds, 11 ounces. So assuming that I'll break those comics out of that box, the package is only going to weigh around 11 ounces. And it's not supposed to be anything in particular. It says it's supposed to be a mature comic book lot, so I'm not 100% sure what that means. It really can be anything. It says Marvel, DC, Vertigo, Image, Dark Horse, and more. I'm guessing it's trying to say there's no kitty comics in there, but I guess to determine kind of what the value of what I thought that, it might be for a comic on that one, I kind of just figured that, the typical comic weighs around 2 ounces, give or take, and it's 10 pounds, 16 ounces per pound. It's 160 ounces divided by 2 is 80. So I'm thinking there's probably around 80 comics in here. And if that's the case, I paid $31.33 a comic. Divide that by 80, it's 39 cents, 40 cents a comic on average. But we're going to break it open and see exactly how many comics we got, what we got, and give you an overall view of this seller here. The name of this seller is Gambling Chips, and it sounds spelled just like it sounds. There's no spaces, no symbols of any kind. It's GAMBLINGCHIPS, Gambling Chips. And it came really quick. I ordered it right before the weekend, and it came on Monday, so it came super fast. It was shipped priority mail today, and there's shifting in there, so it doesn't sound like there's really any packaging in there to keep them safe. But we'll break it open like usual. We'll see what's up with it. And as I usually say in these videos, I also make it for my protection, so I show off the tracking number in case there's some kind of issue with the order and I have to get back at the seller on eBay to get money back or anything like that. Hasn't happened in a long, long time, but I'm going to continue to do this because one day I probably will need it. So here's the tracking. Come on, focus in. There. Mic a little bit closer. And another thing I'll be doing, having the fan on full blast in the background, a bunch of background noise. So maybe that'll help out a little bit. Alright, so we're going to crack this thing open and see if it's got what it's supposed to have. 10 pounds of comics. It gave you all the major imprints, plus it said and other. So let's hope it's more major imprints and not a whole lot of other. But, if it could be anything really. And it would be in agreement with what I ordered. So let's see. Alright. Yeah, it's definitely randomness. I'm not seeing a whole bunch of I'm seeing a whole bunch of DC or Marvel, but we'll take a closer look at it. I'm seeing Eclipse Comics, Image Comics, and Dark Horse more than anything. Here's a little bit of Marvel. This is a Scar comic I already have. Here's the Vertigo. So yeah, there was no kind of protection inside, so the comics were just banging around there loosely. Now looking at the comics, just real quick, I'm not seeing a whole bunch of damage from banging around as far as the corners and stuff goes. We'll go through them one by one like usual, take a quick look at them. Looks like we got some Wildstorm, even some Archie comic. Yeah, just all kind of random stuff. So yeah, let's weigh this out real quick and make sure it's 10 pounds of comics. So yeah, 10 pounds, 3 ounces. So they went over. I'm assuming it's going to be about 80 or so comics. We'll go through them one at a time. Actually, I'm going to go ahead and count them real quick just to see how many we got. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 13, 14, 15, 16, 17, 18, 19, 20. 3, 30, 40, 50, 60, 70, 73. So looks like I may have counted over 1 or 2 there, possibly, because some of those comics were sticking together. But also some of these comics were heavier than average. You know, I take the 2-ounce average, and there's some below that, but there's quite a bit above that too. So it was kind of close to what I said it was. It's definitely in agreement with what I said I was going to get in the order. You know, it's accurate as far as a description of what I was going to get. I guess we'll go through these one by one. There's going to be a lot of stuff I don't recognize here. Camera down, you can see what's going on. Alright. So we got Chaos Moon issue 1 from Caliber Comics. Looks like Gen Active number 1. Wildstorm. Here's a Xena comic. Looks like 2 of 3 by Topps Comics. One called Strike Back, which is an Image comic. That's number 4. Looks like we got one called Ninjak, number 25. That's a Valiant comic. Okay, we got one called Masked. It's a Dynamite comic. Masked looks like number 1. Here's one. Here's a Mark Miller comic I've never read, but I've read a bunch of Mark Miller. I do like Mark Miller. It's an Image comic. It's called Prodigy. It's issue 6. Here's another Prodigy. That's issue 1. Here's the Fables. I have read Fables many a time. Fables is a really good series of books. That's issue 32. Alright, here's a Dark Horse comic called Angel. That's number 17. Here's another Fables. That's Father and Son. March 07. Must be blind. I don't see an issue number there. But yeah, March 07, Father and Son. Very good comic. Fables. Here's another Valiant comic that has looks like a Bloodshot comic. I'm assuming it's a Bloodshot comic. Chapter 7, it's number 6, Valiant comic. Here's another Image comic called Motor Crush. It's like issue number 1. Alright, here's one called Outcast, issue number 42. It's another Image comic. Shadow, I've had a couple of these before. That's number 13, Valiant comic. Here's one called Slasher. It's like number 3. Crazy looking cover. Not about to read it right now, but certain strange looking comics like that kind of catch my attention. There might be one worth checking out as I go to list it up. Here's another Vertigo comic. Looks like something called The Dreaming. That's number 18, The Dreaming. Here's another of The Dreaming. That's number 17. Here's a Hellblazer. That's 263. Here's one called Battlefields. It's a Dynamite comic. Happy Valley 203. Here's a Vertigo comic called The Crusades. That's number 7. Here looks like a Dark Horse, possibly a zombie comic. Looks like there was a series actually. It's called The Strains, Guillermo del Toro and Chuck Hogan. That's issue number 1. I always like it when I get horror comics because I'm kind of a horror comic fan, even though I don't really collect them like I used to. Here's a Species 104. Here's Cyber Force for Top Cab Comics. Is number 28. Here's an Image comic called Shattered Image. It's number 3. Looks like it's got Savage Dragon and some other cats. Might be recognizable. Here's a Max comic series called Wisdom. Never heard of it since number 4 or 6. This is looking pretty cool so far. Like I said, it's already lived up to the standard. It's going to be a positive review. It's exactly what it said it was in the order. It came really quick. So yeah, definitely satisfied with the order so far. We'll continue going through them one at a time though. A few comics I don't recognize I might be interested in looking at. Here's something called Eve. Eve something. It's the Image comic. Eve Protomecha. Eve Protomecha number 6. Image comic. Here's a Dark Horse comic called Spike, A Dark Place. And that's part 2. Here's another issue of Wisdom, the Max comic. That's number 2 of 6. Here's an actual Marvel comic called Onslaught Epilogue. It's like a special event. Doesn't really have an issue number on it. Alright, here's a Dark Horse comic called Starstruck. Volume 1, Book 4. Apparently has trading cards. Yeah, trading cards on the side. So yeah, there's your Dark Horse comic. Here's an Image comic called 5 Ghosts. Don't see an issue number. That might be a standalone book without an issue number. Maybe worth checking out. It's one by Image Comics called 5 Ghosts. Alright, here we go. We got one called Realm, which looks like 25th anniversary of Image. That's issue number 1, second printing. Alright, here's one that's not immediately distinguishable. It's called Evil Empire. It's a Boom Studios comic. Evil Empire number 1. Alright, we got Dreaming number 6. Ghost number 22. The Dreaming number 52. There's one called Dayman by Boom Comic. That's issue 1. Boom Studios. Here's another Image called The Realm. That's issue 2. Here's a Green Hornet comic. Number 10 Now Comics. You probably hear my dog out there kind of mad. I probably got the door closed on him. Let's see, we got Dark Minds of Acropolis. There's like an imprint called DW I'm not familiar with. It's issue number 1. Butt naked girl with a pistol on the cover. Creepy looking eye. There's one called War for Arcadia X. Dark Horse Comics. Here's another Dark Horse comic called Out of the Vortex. That's number 9. Here's another Max comic called Shang-Chi, Master of Kung Fu. That's number 5. Alright. Here's an Oni Press. I haven't seen an Oni Press comic in a while. Hopeless Savages. Ground Zero is issue number 3 or 4. Here's looks like one called Jason the Argobots, which is number 2 or 4. It's another Oni Press. Here's one called Black Sun. Looks like a Wildstorm comic. I don't recognize the logo, but Black Sun, number 2 of 6. So yeah, I could see it as some mature readers. Definitely not kids comics in here by any means. Here's an Image comic called Hellbounds. That's issue number 1. Here's one called Rudyard Kipling's Red Dog, adapted for comics. Not sure what that is. Not familiar with it, but it's a Eclipse comic. Here's a Ghost, Dark Horse Comics. That's number 6. Here's another Bloodshot. Here's the Valiant comic, Bloodshot Salvation, number 2. There's one called Cerberus, Mother's Daughters, 21. Alright, what is this one called? Looks like Class War by an imprint called Cotton.X. Number 5 of 6. Here's another one of those. That's 6 of 6. Here's one called Chosen, from the director of Friday 13th and Texas Chainsaw Massacre, Marcus Nispel. That's a Dynamite comic called Chosen. Here's a Savage Dragon, number 7. Here's a Free Comic Book Day Riverdale, which I have 1 or 2 of these. Actually, it's not one I have though. Alright, here's one called Oblivion by Action Lab, Danger Zone, issue number 1. It does actually have a mature reader imprint or logo on it. Kingdom Bomb, which is another Action Lab. Here's a Vertigo comic called Prez, number 1. Here's one called Adhesive Comics, number 3, Too Much Coffee Man. Special Origin issue. That's pretty crazy looking. Too Much Coffee Man. Yeah, I used to get into weird like little indie comics like this when I was a kid, a little bit. I didn't have a whole bunch of them, but I definitely had some. Here's a Wildstorm comic called Ex Machina. That's number 2. Censor. Here's a Dark Horse comic called Spy Boy. That's number 4. So you got a Species comic, 2 of 4 by Dark Horse Comics. Here's another Spy Boy. It looks like a manga, Spy Boy manga affair. Not seeing the issue number on it. 13.3, I guess, is the issue number. Alright, here's another Dark Horse comic. It's a Spy Boy as well. Number 9. Here's a Vertigo comic called Crossing Midnight. Number 7 of 7. Here's a Scar Son of the Hulk, which is actually a comic that I already had. That's number 3. Here's one called Caliber, 4 of 5, which is a Radical comic. Here's another Spy Boy, 13.2 of the manga affair. Another Wild Story comic, Ex Machina. 24 it looks like. Here's an old Eclipse comic, Saber. Looks like an older one. Here's the Aliens and Predator, Deadliest of the Species, number 3 of 12. So yeah, it's pretty much exactly what it says it's going to be. It's a mixture of different imprints. Looks like there was a good bit of Dark Horse comics in there, but it did have Vertigo and stuff too. It was a pretty good lot. Bunch of randomness, but some stuff I might be interested in checking out there before I put it for sale. So yeah, this is definitely a top rating. An A+ rating from me. Again, that was a 10-pound mature comic lot. And the seller's name was Gambling Chips. And yeah, man, top of the line seller right there. So check him out. Also, check my stuff out. I got the links down below in my stores. I give a discount through the eBay link. It's also an affiliate link, so it'll help me out regardless who you buy from on eBay if you use that link. If you buy from me on eBid, which I prefer because the fees are way cheaper and it helps me out a ton, I'll give you 5% cash back on PayPal for the item and the shipping. So that's definitely my preferred. But I also do Bonanza, Hip Comic, eBay, eBid, and that'll be it for the moment. We'll do more sites going forward, but for right now, that's what I'm doing. But yeah, I hope you guys got some kind of value out of this, or if you enjoy just taking a look at comics, or if you just like seeing the shipping review aspect and see what you can expect from eBay orders or online orders of any kind involving comics. It can be a hit or miss, but it always seems like a net gain for me. I have more good experiences than I have bad, so it's definitely worth doing. Just make sure you get your price right and don't rip yourself off when buying comics online. But yeah, I appreciate y'all hanging out with me and checking out another one of these videos.